Hello and welcome. My name's Avi Charney, the founder of Charney Legal, a law firm based out of Toronto, Canada, and servicing clients throughout Ontario. Throughout Ontario, you may ask, how does one go about doing that? Well, this video is going to be about virtual signings and remote commissionings. Broken up into two main parts, I'll go through the first part about how to close a real estate deal, beginning to end, without ever having to meet. Part 2 will discuss the estate planning process, beginning to end, again, without ever having to meet. Couple disclaimers first, like all good lawyers start with. One is, it depends on your location. I have colleagues in other jurisdictions whose government has not allowed virtual signings, which, as you can imagine, leaves lawyers and clients in a very difficult position. I am, however, very impressed about how the Ontario government has adopted and embraced audio-visual communication, virtual signings, and I'll explain to you how those work. The second disclaimer is many of these laws were adopted temporarily. So by the time you're watching this video, they may have expired or no longer be the applicable law. So if you need to sign anything remotely, I encourage you to speak to your local lawyer to find out if it's still possible based on the time that you need to do it and your location, because laws change, especially now. There's a lot of developments in the law. Let's get right into it. As a first things first, we'll get a quick definition. What does it mean to commission? Commissioner means you may administer oaths and take affidavits, declarations, and affirmations. Pretty simple. In a real estate transaction, that's what's required. You need to give statutory declarations, affirmations, administer oaths, etc. How's that done practically speaking? This is the Law Society's website, have allowed remote commissioning only as recently as August 1st. What does it mean? It means you still have to comply with the laws that apply to commissioning, but the main difference is it is not conducted in the physical presence of the commissioner. What does it mean practically? How's that done? Is that the lawyer prepares the documents, I prepare the documents, and I send them out to you, either via email and you print them, or via courier. Once you have the documents in hand, we get on a video call and I witness you signing the documents. Once they're signed, you send them back to me. Once the documents are back in my hand, I sign my signature that I witnessed you signing by video conference. That concludes the process, the commissioning process. It's really not that difficult. Just a thing to note about real estate transactions before we move on to estate planning is that sometimes the lender, the financial institution providing the mortgage, could complicate things. They, in fact, could require on their mortgage documents wet ink signatures. That was what they required in the past. These days, during COVID-19, most of them, as far as I know, have allowed virtual signings, remote commissionings, but they could be a wild card in this process, just so you know. So now regarding the signing of wills and powers of attorney, there's something extra. It's called strict compliance, which, amongst other things, means there's a requirement for a wet ink signature. How is that done, you may ask? So note that this is a temporary order which has been renewed from month to month and which is currently set to expire, but word on the street is that it will be renewed once again, and my hope is that it'll become permanent and allow for these virtual signings going forward. How are virtual signings done in the estate planning context? Well, it's done by counterpart. What does that mean? Is that there needs to be identical copies of your estate planning documents, your will, let's say. I send you one copy and I have one copy in my office. We get on a video call and I witness you signing your will. Then immediately after, me and my assistant sign as witnesses of your will. Thing with this is only once the two copies are bound together, your signed copy and the witness's signed copy, do you have a valid will. So to complete that process, I ask for you to courier me your signed documents. I will compile them into a pretty package and mail them out to you. Then you have a valid will at this stage. The final option to sign is I just mail you out the documents and you can arrange for your own 2 witnesses, kosher witnesses that is. In such a case, I still prefer to get on a video call and witness you and the witnesses signing your documents just to make sure it's done right. As you can see, there's a lot of adaptation to the COVID-19 restrictions, and thankfully lawyers are allowed to continue providing services by way of remote commissioning and virtual signings so that people can receive legal services now from the comfort of their own homes. An additional aspect of this that I like is the access to justice aspect. That means that anywhere in Ontario, you can now get quality legal services. Most people live in small little towns somewhere where they don't necessarily have access to good lawyers. Being able to provide services remotely, online, I can connect with you wherever you're located, offer good legal advice, and help you execute the important documents in your life or an important transaction in your life, again, without ever having to meet. I hope this has been helpful. If you need to close a real estate transaction or to prepare your wills or powers of attorney, you can feel free to contact me at avi@charneylegal.ca. Till then, we look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye for now.